Selling a home is often a joyful time, but it's also one of the most emotional events someone can go through. It's especially poignant when sellers leave what they thought was going to be their forever home. Many of my clients are either entering a new life phase or they're having to downsize because the home no longer suits their needs. I'm also having a lot of clients right now that are selling the home to settle an estate. And that's very hard because one house that I'm listing, it'll go on the market this weekend. Her parents bought that house as a brand new construction in 1965, and they've lived there ever since. So her dad had passed away a few years ago. Her mom still lived there. And then her mom's health deteriorated. She had to be put in a nursing home, and she passed away last year. They've finally gotten around to, okay, we're going to have to list this house. And it's a very emotional time because that was the house they grew up in, her and her sister. This was the house that even after they had become adults, they were coming home to on the holidays or on vacation to visit with their parents. They've got a lifetime of memories in this home. And so even though they know that this needs to be done, it's hard. They're having to pack up and they're having to go through all those memories, the photographs. Their mom was a journaler. They're reading her journals, and just everything seems to have some kind of an emotional attachment. And so I have learned, because I have actually done several sales of estates this year, you just have to be patient. Normally, when we sit down and we talk about listing a house, we come up with the game plan and we have a target date that we want to be on the market so that we get our photos scheduled, the house gets cleaned, all that kind of stuff prior to our go live date. And more often than not, we just kind of have to leave that date a little fluid when we first have our initial talks. Because a lot of times these people find that it takes a lot longer than what they thought it was going to take. And they have breakdowns and they call you and don't know if they can do it, but they know they have to do it. And so you become almost like a guidance counselor for these people. I sympathize with them. And one thing that it's really made me think about is my parents. They're both in their 80s now. They live in the house that they purchased when they were pregnant with me in 1970. They've got a lot of memories in that house. And it will be a very difficult time for me, my brother, and my sister when that time comes. And I see all the things going on, not just with this family, but with other families. But this I will say, when your parents pass and it comes time to have to go through probate and sell the house, get rid of the things that are inside of it, don't fight with each other, because I promise you that is not what your mom and daddy would want. And I've seen both sides of it. I've seen where both people are in total accordance and it makes for a much smoother transaction on the real estate side, but it makes a better family as well. And we've also got one going on right now where there's 3 sisters and they are just at each other's throats through this whole thing. And it just makes it such a tension-filled process. And their daddy was a sweet, sweet man, would do anything for anybody. And I know it is very upsetting for him to be looking down and seeing how this is going on. If you have parents, I would encourage you to sit down with them and find out what they want. Do they have a will? Do they have it spelled out? Who's going to be the executor? Because I think a lot of times people who die without having a will and not having named somebody to be in charge, that's usually where the fight starts. I can tell you this, selling a parent's house because they have passed on is a hard experience, emotionally, mentally, and a lot of times physically, because you're having to go through tons of things. People who are my age, their parents are my age, they grew up as hoarders basically, because my parents don't throw anything away. That's just how it is. And a lot of my friends' parents were the same way. It's a lot of work to get in there and start cleaning out 50 years worth of memories. So all I would encourage you to do is try to help your parents, if they're still alive, get their affairs in order now. Talk to your siblings about it and try to make it a happy transition when the time comes. And if you need a realtor that's been there, done that, doing it on a regular basis right now, please feel free to give me a call and I can guide you through this process and help you get your parents' home sold without a lot of pressure.